Carthage, a powerful city-state in ancient North Africa, possessed a formidable military force that played a pivotal role in shaping the course of Mediterranean history. From its humble beginnings as a Phoenician colony to its rise as a naval superpower, Carthage's military evolved in response to the challenges it faced and the ambitions it pursued. This video delves into the intricacies of the Carthaginian military, exploring its diverse units, weaponry, and strategic innovations across different historical periods. The Carthaginian Sacred Band, a renowned military unit of ancient Carthage, stood out as the epitome of the city's military prowess. Carthage, once a mighty empire dominating the Western Mediterranean, was celebrated for its mercantile and trading activities, often overshadowing its native troops with iconic units like war elephants, Numidian Cavalry, and Balearic Slingers. Carthage, founded in 814 BC as a Phoenician colony with ties to Tyre, initially relied on citizen soldiers for defense. As the city-state expanded, its armies diversified, incorporating troops equipped in various styles. Richer citizens served as heavy cavalry and charioteers, playing crucial roles in Carthage's early wars of expansion. However, as the empire grew, the reliance on mercenaries and conscripts increased, leading to a shift from native forces to outsourced armies by the 4th century before Christ. The citizen soldiers, who once constituted the backbone of Carthage's army, dwindled in numbers due to the expansion of the empire and outsourcing of military power. A crude population model estimates that at its height, Carthage might have had around 40,000 citizen soldiers, a fraction compared to the Roman and Greek forces. In the midst of this evolution, the Carthaginians maintained a core professional force known as the Sacred Band. This elite unit, numbering between 2,000 and 3,000 soldiers, comprised the best Carthage had to offer, handpicked for their wealth, reputation, and valor. The Sacred Band, drawn from the upper echelons of Carthaginian society, displayed opulence in both attire and gear. Their tunics, adorned with expensive Tyrian purple, likely featured intricate designs. Rich jewelry, body paint, and tattoos further highlighted their prestigious status. In battle, they wore high-quality armor, including scale or ringmail chest protection, bronze or iron-muscled cuirasses, and bronze greaves. Their shields, of the hoplon type, were embellished with chiseled decorations, gold, silver, and possibly ivory, displaying religious and symbolic significance. The primary weapon of the Sacred Band was a spear with a leaf-shaped head, complemented by a butt spike. They also carried backup short swords and daggers, all crafted from the highest quality materials. As professional soldiers, the Sacred Band volunteered for service, undergoing rigorous training. They functioned as elite heavy infantry, likely organized by the familial and political association, and were often deployed on the right wing of the Carthaginian formation, a position of honor. The history of the Sacred Band is shrouded in mystery. Its first recorded instance dates back to 341 BC during the 6th Sicilian War. The band fought valiantly in battles such as Crimisus and White Tunis, earning a reputation for bravery. However, after suffering a significant loss, the Sacred Band disappeared from historical records. It is unclear whether they participated in subsequent conflicts, such as the Punic Wars against Rome. While the details surrounding the Carthaginian Sacred Band remain elusive, its existence signifies a unique and revered aspect of Carthaginian military history. The unit, representing the pinnacle of Carthaginian military might, showcased the wealth, prestige, and prowess of the ancient city-state. Libyan heavy spearmen made up the bulk of the forces deployed by Carthage during their wars with Rome. The Second Punic War was arguably the most brutal and famous of these wars, with the Libyan Spearmen standing out. They formed the core of the Carthaginian army and showcased the empire's dependence on its North African allies. These Libyan warriors weren't professional soldiers in the strictest sense. Unlike a standing army, they were levied as auxiliaries, likely from kingdoms or city-states within Carthage's sphere of influence in North Africa. As a result, these soldiers were employed throughout the Carthaginian Empire, with a large bulk of these forces ending up in the Iberian provinces. Defense was crucial for these frontline fighters. Their armor of choice, the linothorax, was adopted from the Greeks after the Carthaginians fought countless wars with them. Crafted from layers of linen, painstakingly glued together with animal-based adhesives, the linothorax offered remarkable protection while remaining surprisingly lightweight. Head protection came in the form of bronze helmets, likely variations on the Thracian model. These helmets likely featured a metallic crest, a unique adaptation by the Carthaginians that dispensed with the decorative horsehair plumes often seen in other cultures. While historical accounts sometimes depict Libyan spearmen wielding round apsis shields, it's possible this was an earlier practice. As the war progressed and Carthage relied more heavily on mercenaries, the Libyans likely adopted the more common scutum shield. This rectangular Roman shield offered superior protection and became a standard among Carthage's diverse fighting force. For weapons, the main weapon was the spear. However, the Libyans opted for a shorter, more versatile weapon, a javelin-like spear that could be thrown to disrupt enemy formations before transitioning to close combat. The Libyan spearmen adopted Iberian swords, renowned for their slashing ability. These blades became a common sight among Libyan troops. In battle, the Libyans' fighting style mirrored the famed Greek phalanx, where soldiers stood shoulder to shoulder with long spears, creating an intimidating wall of steel. When these spears broke or the need arose, they would switch out their spears for their swords and cause devastation in their enemies' ranks. The Libyan spearmen were more than just skilled fighters. They likely carried with them cultural influences from their North African homeland. However, details about their specific customs and beliefs are scarce. Nonetheless, their presence within Hannibal's army serves as a powerful reminder of the multi-ethnic nature of the Carthaginian Empire. In conclusion, the Libyan spearmen were the backbone of Hannibal's army, their adaptability and unwavering courage playing a pivotal role in the early successes of the Second Punic War. They were more than expendable auxiliaries. They were an example to the strength and diversity of the Carthaginian military, a force that dared to challenge the rising power of Rome. Libyan Javelin Men were the lighter variant of the Libyan Spearmen, occupying a skirmisher role in Carthaginian armies. The Second Punic War wasn't solely defined by the thunderous advance of heavily armed infantry. While the famed Libyan Spearmen held the line as Carthage's backbone, another crucial element of Hannibal's army was the swift and nimble Libyan Javelin Men. These warriors played a vital role in disrupting enemy formations, harassing flanks, and providing valuable scouting capabilities. The origins of these javelin men remain shrouded in some mystery. Historical records often don't differentiate between Libyan spearmen and javelin men, making it difficult to pinpoint their specific tribal affiliations within North Africa. However, their presence highlights the diverse nature of Hannibal's army, drawing upon the strengths of various cultures and regions within the Carthaginian sphere of influence. Unlike their spear-wielding counterparts, the javelin men were considered light troops. This meant prioritizing mobility and agility on the battlefield. Their attire likely consisted of simple clothing, allowing for unencumbered movement as they darted across the battlefield. This focus on speed and maneuverability made them a valuable asset in open terrain, particularly during the early stages of a battle. For defense, the Libyan javelin men relied on buckler shields. These small, round shields were typically made from wood and leather, offering protection against incoming missiles without hindering their mobility. They also occasionally wore helmets, again most likely of the Thracian design. Additionally, they may have carried short swords or daggers for close-quarter combat situations. While not their primary strength, these secondary weapons ensured they weren't entirely defenseless if an enemy managed to close the distance. Their primary weapon was the javelin, a lightweight spear designed for throwing. Their goal was to disrupt enemy formations before they could engage in close combat. The Libyan javelin men likely carried a good number of these javelins. The effectiveness of the Libyan javelin men went beyond their equipment. Their skills in movement and tactics were crucial. They were likely adept at guerrilla warfare tactics, using hit-and-run maneuvers and exploiting the terrain to their advantage. Their ability to harass enemy flanks and disrupt formations created valuable opportunities for Hannibal's main force to exploit weaknesses and gain an upper hand. The impact of the Libyan Javelin Men shouldn't be underestimated. Their swiftness and disruptive tactics played a crucial role in Hannibal's early victories. While history often focuses on the clashes between heavily armored infantry formations, the agility and deadliness of the Libyan Javelin Men were a vital contributing factor to Hannibal's initial success in the Second Punic War. They serve as a reminder that a well-rounded army, utilizing diverse skills and tactics, can be a formidable force on the battlefield. The Numidian Cavalry were at the time arguably the best cavalry force in the ancient world. The ancient Mediterranean world witnessed the rise of many formidable military forces, and among them, the Numidian cavalry carved a distinct niche. The Numidians, likely ancestors of the modern Berbers, were a large kingdom hailing from North Africa. Their reputation as skilled cavalrymen first surfaced during the Sicilian Wars, 3rd century BC, where they served as mercenaries for the Carthaginians against the Greeks in Sicily. However, their true prominence arrived during the Second Punic War. Fighting alongside Hannibal's formidable army, the Numidian cavalry played a crucial role in his early victories. Battles like Lake Trasimene, 217 BC, and Cannae, 216 BC, showcased their disruptive power. Their speed and agility allowed them to harass enemy formations, exploit flanks, and create strategic advantages for the Carthaginians. The effectiveness of these light cavalrymen did not go unnoticed. Recognizing their potential, Roman general Scipio Africanus recruited Numidian horsemen, led by Massinissa, to counter Hannibal's forces at the decisive Battle of Zama. The impact of Massinissa's cavalry proved pivotal in securing Roman victory. Following Zama, the Romans incorporated Numidian cavalry as light auxiliary units within their legions. This practice continued throughout the Republican and Imperial eras. Renowned figures like Julius Caesar and Trajan employed Numidian horsemen in their military campaigns, further solidifying their reputation as a valuable military asset. Unlike the heavily armored cavalry of the time, the Numidians relied on speed, maneuverability, and surprise tactics. Their armor was minimal, consisting primarily of a round shield crafted from elephant or ostrich skin, known for its sturdiness. For offense, they carried bundles of javelins, emphasizing their strength in ranged attacks rather than close-quarter combat. Depictions on ancient steles and rock carvings from Algeria showcase Numidian warriors equipped with these shields and javelins. Artistic portrayals also reveal distinctive physical traits like mustaches and pointed beards. Their attire was simple, typically consisting of a tunic without belts or elaborate accessories. The true distinction of the Numidian cavalry lay in their unique riding style. Unlike their contemporaries, they dispensed with saddles, blankets, and bridles, relying solely on a rope around the horse's neck for control. Ancient writers like Strabo and Livy described their horses as agile, docile, and remarkably responsive to their riders' commands, even in the absence of bridles. The Numidian horses themselves were small and hardy, the ancestors of modern Berber horses. Despite their size, these horses were highly valued for their endurance and ability to withstand the demands of ancient battlefield conditions. While their extended neck gallop might have appeared awkward to some observers due to the lack of bridles, ancient authors also documented impressive feats of horsemanship, such as warriors jumping between two horses during battle. In conclusion, the Numidian cavalry, with their distinctive tactics, weaponry, and riding style, played a significant role in shaping the military landscape of the ancient Mediterranean world. Balearic slingers were some of the best slingers of the ancient world, and as a result found regular employment in the armies of Carthage. In ancient warfare, archers often take center stage as the dominant ranged combatants. Yet, another group of skilled warriors, the Balearic slingers, deserve recognition for their mastery of a seemingly simple weapon, the sling. Hailing from the Balearic Islands east of Spain, these warriors honed their skills from a young age. Their weapon, a braided sling with a pouch for ammunition, could hurl projectiles like lead bullets at incredible speeds. This lethality, combined with a range of up to 400 meters, made them a force to be reckoned with until the rise of crossbows and gunpowder. While the origins of the Balearic people remain shrouded in legend, their rise to prominence likely occurred after Phoenician contact in the 8th century BC. The island's strategic location facilitated trade and cultural exchange, influencing the development of their unique fighting style. Unlike heavily armored counterparts, the Balearic slingers prioritized speed and agility. They often fought nearly naked or with minimal protection, relying on their quick movements to evade enemy attacks. Their main form of defense was a small round shield, likely the Palmer shield. Their primary weapon, the sling, was deceptively simple. Made from braided plant fibers, it held a projectile pouch and required immense skill to achieve accuracy and power. Beyond their slings, Balearic warriors carried additional weapons for close combat. Initially, wooden spears or javelins sufficed, but as their mercenary reputation grew, they adopted more advanced weaponry, like iron-tipped spears, knives, and even swords. This adaptability allowed them to transition from ranged bombardment to close-quarters combat when necessary. The cornerstone of their success, however, was extensive training. They honed their skills from a young age, likely integrating sling use into hunting and herding activities. This constant practice fostered remarkable accuracy and power in their throws. On the battlefield, the Balearic slingers played a vital role beyond just inflicting casualties. Their primary function was often to harass and disrupt enemy formations with barrages of projectiles before close-quarters combat began. Acting as skirmishers, they could inflict serious damage while remaining relatively mobile. Additionally, their agility made them ideal for ambushing enemy troops in rough terrain, further disrupting enemy strategies. Their contributions were significant during the Second Punic War, where they served under the famed Carthaginian general Hannibal. Their sling barrages are said to have played a role in several victories. Even after Carthage's defeat, the Balearics continued their mercenary tradition, this time under Roman rule. They served in various campaigns throughout the Mediterranean, showcasing their skills on a broader stage. The lasting legacy of the Balearic slingers is a testament to the effectiveness of a seemingly simple weapon wielded by skilled warriors. Their story reminds us that specialized units, when properly trained and utilized, can have a profound impact on the course of history. Though overshadowed by more prominent military forces, the Balearic slingers remain a fascinating example of how mastery of a particular skill could make a significant difference on the ancient battlefield. The Carthaginian war elephants played a significant role in ancient warfare, particularly during the Punic Wars against Rome. These formidable creatures were not native to Carthage, but their introduction transformed the Carthaginian military and impacted Mediterranean history. Carthage, initially a Phoenician colony founded in 814 BC in North Africa, did not have a strong tradition of land warfare or experience with elephants. However, during the late 3rd century BC, the use of war elephants gained prominence in the region. Carthage initially imported Asian elephants from India, but later turned to native African elephants due to economic considerations. The choice included savanna elephants and forest elephants. Despite the challenges of taming these massive creatures, Carthage successfully formed its elephant corps within a decade. War elephants were not only awe-inspiring due to their size, but were also equipped for battle. They were defensively protected with cloaks, armor on vulnerable areas, and sometimes even helmets for the mahouts. Offensively, human riders on their backs wielded various weapons, and larger elephants had towers, howdahs, with warriors and additional armor. In battle, Carthaginian war elephants were deployed in formations, either at the front, on the flanks, or in multiple lines. The elephants charged at the enemy with immense force, causing panic and disruption. They could trample soldiers, gore troops with their tusks, and even pick up and smash cavalry with their trunks. The effectiveness of war elephants varied, and their use during the First Punic War showed mixed results. This was mostly due to improper use of the elephants by incompetent Carthaginian generals, often resulting in them accidentally charging through their own lines, causing chaos in the process. Carthaginian war elephants continued to be employed in subsequent conflicts, such as the Mercenary War, where they played a crucial role in securing victory for Hamilcar Barca. They were also part of Hannibal's daring invasion of Rome during the Second Punic War, including the famous crossing of the Alps. Despite their significant contributions, the Carthaginian war elephants faced challenges, including internal strife, countermeasures developed by enemy forces, and the eventual ban on their possession imposed by the Romans after the Battle of Zama in 202 BC. The legacy of Carthaginian war elephants extended beyond their time, as even the Romans adopted these mighty creatures from North African herds for their own military purposes. The story of these elephants highlights the dynamic and evolving nature of ancient warfare and the strategic adaptations made by civilizations in the pursuit of military dominance. Before the Punic Wars catapulted them into the spotlight, the Carthaginians stood as one of the most formidable naval forces of their era. This maritime prowess was a legacy centuries in the making, forged through countless battles, often overlooked by history. Let us delve into the stories of these forgotten sailors of North Africa, and the warships with which they built a vast empire that nearly toppled the Romans. The Carthaginian Navy's roots trace back to their Phoenician ancestors in the Bronze Age. These coastal city-states pioneered navigation and shipbuilding, dominating the seas before and after the Bronze Age collapse. By the 9th century BC, Phoenicians had established hundreds of outposts across the Mediterranean, facilitating lucrative trade networks that linked far-flung markets. Carthage, founded in 814 BC, was a strategic outpost at the nexus of these trade routes, destined to become a maritime powerhouse. Little is known about the early development of the Carthaginian Navy. However, it is likely that the colony's bustling port and merchant sector hosted hundreds of ships, many of which were adapted for military use. As Carthage grew in power, its navy expanded, becoming feared throughout the Mediterranean. The Carthaginian Navy was primarily composed of galleys, narrow, shallow draft ships, powered by oars and sails. These vessels evolved, with different classifications based on the number of rowers per file. The most common types included the bireme, trireme, and quinquereme, each with increasing size and power. Building and maintaining these warships was a massive undertaking. Skilled craftsmen felled timber, forged nails, cast rams, and sewed sails. Construction took place in dedicated harbors and covered sheds, with some Carthaginian facilities employing proto-assembly line techniques to improve efficiency. The Carthaginian Navy relied on a diverse workforce, including free men, slaves, and mercenaries. Rowers were often recruited from the poorer citizens, while marines came from various sources, including the Punic citizenry and foreign auxiliaries. Training for Carthaginian naval crews likely included rowing practice on land and at sea. Life in the navy was tough, with long hours, cramped conditions, and a simple diet. However, the rewards were great, as successful sailors could rise through the ranks and achieve wealth and status. Carthaginian naval tactics emphasized ramming and boarding. Ships would charge into enemy vessels, using their bronze rams to inflict damage. Boarding parties would then swarm aboard the grappled ship, seeking to overpower the enemy crew. Ranged weapons, such as archers and artillery, were also used to attack enemy vessels from a distance. The Carthaginian Navy played a crucial role in Carthage's expansion and defense. It was involved in numerous conflicts, including the Punic Wars against Rome. Despite ultimately being defeated by the Romans, the Carthaginian Navy left a lasting legacy and remains one of the most impressive naval forces of antiquity.